Bedtime Stories from Sleep With Me is brought to you by Progressive Insurance. Do you ever find yourself playing the budgeting game? Well, with the Name Your Price tool from Progressive, you can find options that fit your budget and potentially lower your bills. Try it at Progressive.com. Progressive Casualty Insurance Company and Affiliates. Price and coverage match limited by state law. Not available in all states. Friends beyond the binary, ladies and gentlemen, boys and girls, it's time for a journey, not to the final frontier, but into outer space to join our friends in the, everybody says this is the one show where the next generation is not said, Star Trek, if they were announcing the show, they'd say, I don't know what you're talking about. The next generation. We're currently flying the Enterprise within our timeline. So, but it's a popular title. It's easy. TNG. Holy cow! Is that Sleep with TNG? It's time. Oh, where are you? Sorry if you're new. Welcome. This is Sleep With Me. The podcast that's here to take your mind off stuff and keep you company so that you can fall asleep. Later, we'll be talking about Star Trek: The Next Generation, but in a way that probably is so oblique and incoherent, obviously, that you'll be more like a bedtime story. But this show's here to take your mind off stuff and keep you company so that you can fall asleep. I appreciate you checking it out. What we got coming up here is some support. That's how the show's free twice a week. Then a long intro to help ease you into bedtime. And podcast is a bit different. Like I said, it's to keep you company and take your mind off of stuff more so than to put you to sleep. You just kind of fall asleep because you're like, this guy's just rambling on and on and on. Not bad, though. And we make the show because we know how it feels in the deep, dark night, and you deserve a good night's sleep. So I'm so glad you're here. I appreciate you coming by. And here's the ways we're able to be here for free twice a week. All right, everybody, Scoots here. We're talking about Season 5, Episode 3, Ensign Ro. Oh, the places you'll go, Ensign Ro. I don't know, but I had rhyming so. And this episode I saw quite a while ago. I realized we never did it for the podcast. I thought like with the Cardassians and the Bajorans, coming up last week, it'd be cool to learn a little bit more this week, and then maybe we'll delve into some more Guinan, I think. But this starts off with a haircut, a little trim, the end of a haircut with Picard. And actually, I have it paused, and who is it? Mr. Mott's hand is above Picard's head, and you can kind of see where the paint on his hands or the stuff on his hands has come off from touching things. But, you wouldn't be able to see that in a normal show. But yeah, Mott has a lot to say. He's in the middle of talking. I like how the scene picks up right in the middle of the conversation. There's a time when you do, time when you don't. When you say, Picard kind of sighs, grimaces. One doesn't always have that luxury, Mott. Got to choose a time and place. True or false, Mott says, whenever possible. Says Picard got lucky. He's very forceful with Picard's head, too. Suppose all's well that ends well. But if I'd have been you, and Picard's like, that's great. Let's get out of here. He says, one more thing. Let me use a laser shaver on your what do you call those things? Lamb chops or whatever they're called. Sideburns. And he says, Commander Riker agrees with me 100% on how to deal with this stuff. This is Mr. Mott. He's a blue-faced character. Right along the Cardassian border, Picard gets a call from the bridge. Okay, I'm on my way. And then he says something very, actually, like you see where Mott, after Picard leaves, kind of sums up the whole episode. He says, I told him we shouldn't have colonized so close to the Cardassians. Then we see Data's hand pressing buttons. Picard asks for a report. Some signal went out. We can't get him on subspace. upper and lower band frequencies, Worf? Yeah, I tried. No response. The Solarian system. Let's get over there. 26 minutes. 100% of, sorry. Mott told him. I don't know what that means. He's the best barber. Oh, but then Picard says, yo, you telling secrets to Mott? He goes, oh, he's telling me secrets. He's the best barber, though. Then they get a low-frequency call, or low-band call, a terrible frequency. This is the Bajoran. By the way, we took out that Federation colony on Solarian 4, and we want, you're not you're not doing what's right. And they say, hey, you're not doing what's right. So we're making a move, and they zoom on Picard's face. Stardate 450.76.3, Station Alpha, meeting up with Admiral Kennelly, who wants to talk about this Bajoran action. Kennelly's got a cold, or not a cold. Well, no, a cold, right? Sorry about that. Ginger tea with honey, 80 degrees Celsius. Picard orders ginger tea. Never heard of it. This Kennelly says. It's my Aunt Adele. I don't know if it was the Adele. I don't think that generationally would work, but maybe like Adele's grandchildren or Picard's parents. Yeah, I caught this at a conference with Cardassians. They were talking about it. Same old story. They annexed Bajoran homeworld 40 years ago and took away their, and they're not happy about it, obviously, the Bajorans, because they were forced out of their homeworld, obviously. Sorry, a little passive-aggressive. Picard's very matter of fact. And then he says, listen, I love the Bajorans. That's what people always start out saying when they got to say something. They don't have their home planet. This reminds me a lot of, how to talk about something indirectly that's very, stressful, like the Yiddish Policeman's Union. Is that the whole title of that book? I read that not that long ago, and trying to think if that's the whole title of the book. Really good read, like all of this complicated stuff cloaked in, or actually, no, it's like a parallel, enrobed. I don't know if it is enrobed in a hard-boiled detective story. But yeah, I don't know. These are totally different, but it's a way of presenting information, chased off their planet by the Cardassians anyway. Wander the galaxy, Kennelly says. Settling wherever they can. It's too bad, but, and Picard says, yeah, no one's welcoming them either. And then he says, Kennelly says, yeah, but they're not helping their cause by, saying it's not okay. Got to be diplomatic about this, Jean-Luc. I need you to do this. Find their leader, Orta, and, get any way you can. Picard says, any way I can. That doesn't sound like, he goes like, we can't allow this to continue. It's disrupting trade. And they don't say that, but, that's between the lines. What can we offer, Orta? Amnesty? Picard says, dude, that's a joke. And he goes, tell him if he agrees, we'll work on it behind the scenes, quietly, getting all this settled, every legitimate means. But Jorah got to be patient. And Picard says, Admiral, they've had generations of sympathy and promises. You can't give them more of the same. And he says, it's your job to see to it that he does. Then Riker calls, hey, somebody's coming aboard, a new person. They have orders to join. Ensign Ro Laren. Picard says, the Ro Laren from the Wellington? And what is it, a mistake? And then Admiral Kennelly says, I wrote those orders. Stay, she might be valuable. Picard says, dude, this is my ship. You sign me a new officer, especially Ro Laren? He goes, but she's Bajoran. Picard goes, there's other Bajorans in Starfleets. He says, well, with what's going on, we got to do something. Picard has pretty strong things. She shouldn't be on a ship, I don't think. He goes, I'm not asking, Picard. It's an order. And it was a lot of work to get her out of the trouble she was already in. And this is an important mission. Picard and Kennelly glare at each other. And then Picard says, Riker, proceed. And Riker goes, you kidding me, boss? He goes, yes, sir. I'm not kidding you. And he goes, I hope I don't regret this, your decision, Kennelly. He goes, don't worry about it, Jean-Luc. Then Ro Laren transfers in. I don't know if this is the first time we've met Ro Laren. I guess so, because we've seen a couple episodes, like the one where they're kids. She says, I'm reporting, she says it to Riker. She's got her orders. They say, we follow Starfleet code here on this ship, Ensign. Take off your earrings. And great performance as Laren. It's like, you're like a real put out, like, are you kidding me? This is how I am. Like, you Scoots, which character you're most like? Data? Worf? Ro Laren. With the, like, that's my personality type. Not too much like me. I'm not saying that's what I act like. Ro Laren, size, rolling eyes, disobeying, doing the opposite. And then Riker and Picard are meeting. People don't want to work with Ro Laren. A terrible reputation. Well, I'm going to demand the highest level of performance, nothing less. Won't be long. Don't worry, Will. And then Ro Laren shows up, and they say, Ensign Laren. She goes, it's Ensign Ro. That's the name of the thing. Bajoran custom has our family name first, individual name second. Or maybe I mixed it up, but he says, yeah, it's Ensign Ro. It's an old custom. Most Bajor these days accept this assimilation, but I do not. And Picard goes, I want to be candid. Go ahead. All right, well, I know you didn't didn't go great on other ships. Guinan 2, something happened there. And this is a delicate mission. Ro says, I don't want to be here anyway. Why'd you take the assignment? Didn't have a choice. Well, I did have a choice, but I was, sitting in, it's better than nothing, let's just say. She goes, this is not my idea, nor ours, but we're all going to work together, and we have expectations. And Ro Laren says, I know the routine. Don't worry about me. I can I get it. We're stuck together. Let's get it over with. Then we can go our separate ways. We'll just get this mission solved. And Riker glare, Picard nervous face. Oh boy. Dismissed. Supplemental captain's log going into the Valo system on the outskirts of Cardassian, where many Bajoran have resettled. Then there's a meeting. We got 3 Class M planets, Valo 3 maybe. Jas also lives there. Federation's dealt with him. Beverly says, excellent dancer. Met him at a symposium. Jazz Holtz, actually. Very concerned leader, good spokesperson, great dancer. Riker laughs. She goes, no, serious. It was a party afterwards. And Troy says, well, Lucy is diplomatic. Big advantage in this mission. Okay, let's do it. And they say, Ensign Ro, you got something to say? You're familiar. You'll take the con. And Ro goes, you're wasting your time. Jas Holtz is nobody. So what if he can dance? He's a figurehead, whatever, goes to parties, no real influence. Data says, who should we speak with? And she goes, don't you understand the situation we're dealing with? People don't want to talk to the Federation anymore. It's past that. And she goes, I'm trying to make sure this all works out okay. But I don't know, and they say, okay, well, what do you think? Picard says, let's solve this problem. Where would you go? Valo 2, Southern Continent, Kiev Floor. Let's talk to Kiev Floor. No diplomatic experience, not a dancer. So Picard, Worf, Data, and Ro show up at Captain Log Supplemental, looking for Kiev Floor. Oh, Picard talks about the history, fifth grade history of Bajoran architects and philosophers, like how they were way advanced than humans. But, they didn't stop the Cardassians from, disrupting that. So we're dealing with people so Ro gives her jacket to a young girl. Then Keith Floor shows up. He says, Balik, which means move it, kids. Ro Laren. Been a while. She goes, Keith Floor, this is Jean-Luc Picard, Commander Data and Lieutenant Worf. Thanks for meeting with us, Mr. Kiev. And so Picard shows he's learned. Please, you still remember Ro, Ensign Ro? Let's check out the camp. So they go around, see leaking water. Hey, we're just trying to figure out what to do. We're passionate people. And Picard goes, we're trying to find this Orta guy. And Keith Floor says, nah, don't know. Can't help you. And he goes, don't understand. I'm looking for a way to solve this where we can all work together. But you're bystanders. And Picard goes, but if we're bystanders, why won't you help you? He goes, yeah, because you've been bystanders the whole time. As the Cardassians took our planet and made other choices, we had to flee throughout the galaxy. And you've been more worried about the designated borders of the Cardassians and the Federation. And Picard goes, well, we can't get involved in internal affairs. He goes, yeah, well, but we're sentient beings hurting. Picard goes, well, I can offer you assistance right now. He goes, oh, because of what happened, now you're willing to do something. Maybe if I'd known that, we would have disrupted trade earlier, eh? What do you think of that, Ro? And Ro goes, listen, you're a little power hungry, Keeve. We're all trying to deal with the Cardassians. Maybe the Federation can help now, Picard says, since you've had to resettle all over the quadrant. This is not an isolated problem. We can work diplomatically on your behalf. But first, we got to have peace and trade. And Keith says, you talk about diplomacy. My worry is about blankets. And I thought they were going to stay there for the night because he goes, if you had to stay here one night, you'd understand. And then Picard goes, replicate some blankets for everybody. And Worf, Data do that. Worf figure out what else they need and provide it. And Keith says, okay, thanks. Maybe I'll give you a call. Go back to your ship. If I have any info, I'll contact you. And he goes, Ensign? He heads off. Ro and Picard are there. That was helpful. Blankets were helpful, Ro says. Nothing I said mattered. And Picard goes, they could have replicators here to feed and clothe everyone. And Ro says, yeah, I had to get away. They're lost, defeated. And she goes, I'll never be. And they walk off together. You see a little Southern California looking good. Nice height, look like a nice hiking spot. Captain's log 45077.8. Keith Floor kept his promise. By the way, he didn't make any promises, but the moon of Valo 1, we're going to meet with Orta. Then we're at 10 forward, Rose by herself having a drink. Crusher and Troy come on. And they say, hey, can we join you? She's so much like Scoots. She goes, she's a little more straightforward. They go, do you mind if we join you? She goes, yeah, I do. Mind. We see somebody drinking out of like a thing. Then Jordy's like, I don't think I want to work with this Ensign Ro. Jordy's having what looks like tea or coffee. Got to follow. I can't believe it. She doesn't belong here. Got to follow orders. She didn't even belong in the uniform as far as I'm concerned. And Guinan says, really? Guinan's in this resplendent purple outfit. Really sleep with me style. She says, excuse me, this sounds like somebody I'd like to know. Nobody wants her on board. She says, oh, hey, by the way, Ro, am I bothering you? Oh, yeah, great. Seems like you were somebody that'd rather be, interrupted. No, I want to be alone. And she calls her out. She says, if you want to be alone, you would have stayed in your room. She goes, the only reason to come to 10 Forward is to be around other people. Who are you, by the way? Guinan, 10 Bar, and I listen. Heard anything interesting? Oh, boy, everybody's talking about you. And Ro says, interesting, uh-huh. And she goes, well, it's all true, whatever they say about me. And Guinan says, truth's in the eye of the beholder. And she says, isn't that beauty? Truth, beauty, works, it's just a phrase. And she goes, you never told the true story why you made your choices. You didn't even defend yourself. And Ro says, what, I didn't follow orders. So that's it. My fault. And Guinan says, so now you just stare at your drink alone in crowded places? Yeah, but maybe you enjoy the attention. And she goes, so Guinan just keeps dropping truth on her. Well, you just like Scoots, self-flagellating. Who are you? Guinan. I 10 Bar and I listen. Not like anybody I met before. And Guinan says, same with you. Never met an officer like you before. Sounds like we're going to be good friends. And Guinan says, yeah, I don't usually stick around long enough to make friends. And Guinan says, too late. We're friends now. But I'll be back. I gotta 10 Bar and listen. So I'll see you later. Ro gets called by the bridge. We got subspace private message coming in for private FaceTime. Go to your room. Ro says, really? So Ro heads to her room, and she gets a FaceTime from Admiral Kennelly to subspace transmission, and says, report, yeah, everything's going as you said, Admiral. And that's all we see. Then we see the Enterprise. Then Picard's got his jacket on, that jacket from whatever season this is. 5, okay, yeah, we talk about the moon, some interference. We're on a timetable. Where's Ro? Not ready to transport out? Already did 8 hours ago. Not on board the Enterprise. Or they checked the log or whatever. 6 hours ago, Scoots. Oh, so it's Worf, Troy, Data, Picard, and then Riker's overseeing things. He says, what in the double hockey? I got to say double hockey sticks once an episode. They go into like a rocky area with moonlight and stuff. Looks a little bit like Pirates of the Caribbean, the first scene in Disneyland. And Data's got some molecular displacement traces, movement in the last 10 hours. And he goes, okay, let's standard search pattern. Maintain tricorder link, Worf says. So Worf, you're with me, Picard, and then Troy and Data. They start searching. A little bit of a set, practical set. They say practical effects. Practical set, the effects are, there is practical effects like lights and stuff, energy fluctuations. Troy calls Picard, no signal. Data calls Picard, doesn't work. Data calls Worf, does not work. Signal's jammed. They go into another room. Picard and Worf are there, busted by mysterious figures at first. Curious poses or whatever. And they say, yeah, like, stick around. You're going to meet our boss. And this mysterious character comes out with Ro behind him. He says, Captain Picard, how you doing? I'm Orta. And I've been through it because of the Cardassians. So hasn't been pleasant. I was a guest of theirs. And Picard goes, it's not necessarily surprises. He goes, well, after I talked to Ro Laren, I decided it was. This is a cool part, a little bit of a buildup. Well, it's been a disservice. Picard goes, I'm here for peace. Orta says, well, I'm interested in change, not peace. I don't think you are either. Ro Laren says, by the way, I'm here trying to help. Picard goes, well, you messed it all up. And Ro says, I want everybody to listen to one another. You don't know all the facts, Picard. And that's when Garen or whatever says, you don't know everything. There's something else at play. The victim of deception, I don't know what's happening. Because you were supposed to seek out Bajorans that did something to Solarian 4? And Picard goes, yeah. And he goes, I already told Ro Laren it wasn't Bajorans. And Picard goes, dun, dun, dun. And then just a look on Ro and Picard's face. Go back to the Enterprise. Riker's there. They go to the bridge. Worf's like, this doesn't make any sense that they didn't do anything to Solarian 4. They go, well, he has no reason to lie. Troy says that I detected no fear. And then they go, well, who did it then? Why would anyone want to falsely implicate the Bajora? Data says, well, someone draw us into the conflict. Well, what would anyone gain by that? Picard goes, Ro, in my ready room. Troy has a concerned face. They go into the ready room. And Picard goes, you didn't have permission to leave the ship. And she goes, yeah, I'm sorry. He goes, this isn't a discussion. Restricted to your quarters. Dismissed. Go to your room. And Ro heads off. There's a pause and a breath. Grimace. Nice slow scene. Then another of Enterprise circling this moon. Laren in her room in bed thinking, doorbell once. Doorbell twice. Laren says, what in the heck? I'm trying to lie here and think. And Guinan comes in, this time in a blue, royal blue? I don't know. Very cool, like a little bit of more velvety. What's up, friend? She goes, why do you always say, she goes, Ro, I think you have your poles reversed. Do you want to talk? And she says, there's nothing you can help me with. And she goes, well, why don't we talk? She goes, I got myself into this. I can figure it out on my own. Just like Scoots tries. And Guinan just gives her a caring look. Ro keeps talking. Everybody's pulling my strings. Got no control. Guinan says, sits down. Looks at her slow, real slow, used to silence. And she goes, yeah, for people like you and me who've lost their homes, sometimes that's the way it feels. And Ro's using her fingers to kind of think it out. She goes, I'm in trouble, big trouble. There's more going on here than anybody realizes, but no one's going to believe me anyway. And I don't know how to deal with it. I don't know who I can trust. Even yourself? Yeah, even myself. Guy says, okay, well, a long time ago, I was in a lot of trouble. And found a friend named Picard. And she goes, and I mean serious. I had to trust one man. And we go to Jean-Luc in his ready room. Bell rings, come on in. It's Guinan and Ro. He goes, she's supposed to be in her room. Well, Ensign Ro's got something she wants to talk to you about, Jean-Luc. He's got a pad in his hand or one of those neon orange things. She goes, well, after she's done talking, she can go back in your room. Why are you involved in this, Guinan? She's my friend. And they just stare each other down. That's like some sort of code, but also the truth. Then she looks at Ro, looks at Picard, and heads out. Picard says, okay, take a seat. Picard is not shook, but he's inquisitive. Yeah, Guinan doesn't call a lot of people her friends, so. And Ro says, when I lay this out, it's going to be trouble for me, one way or the other. But I guess this is the way it's got to be. I can't keep it up. Picard goes, what? She goes, Admiral Kennelly came to me and said he'd get me out of trouble if I go on a mission. Yeah, I know that part. Not a mission we're on, though, Picard. One secret mission for Kennelly. And he goes, she goes, yeah, your mission's hopeless. And they knew that. My job was to give Orta incentive you couldn't offer, one Starfleet couldn't offer, military industrial complex type stuff. And Picard goes, I thought we were past all that. He goes, I find this impossible to believe. Admiral Kennelly would do that, escalate the situation. And she says, it's true. I didn't leave the ship without permission. Kennelly told me to leave it last night. He called. There's probably a record of the FaceTime. Picard says, oh boy, this is, he has to sit down. Doesn't check his fish tank first, but he tosses his pad on his desk. He goes, that would be a violation of everything the Federation stands for. He goes, you must know that. And she goes, well, it's a direct order. I didn't have a choice. She goes, but also, I've been through it with the Cardassians. My dad. She goes, I know what they're capable of, and it's not it's not a rock by baby. Like blanket. It's not blankets and milkshakes. And she says, so I know the stakes here. And she goes, for a long time, that complicated my ability to think about it, because I thought it was my fault. That being a Bajoran was not something to be proud of. And she goes, now I've realized that those feelings were misguided, but they're still a part of me. So again, very nuanced. And she goes, I don't want to deal with this anymore. I'm proud of my Bajoran heritage. I serve the Federation, but I am Bajoran. And this Starfleet Admiral gave me an opportunity to help my people, and I had to accept it. Picard glares, breathes in through his nose. He goes, did you make this offer to Orta? And she goes, no, because there's something else not right, especially when he said the Bajorans weren't even involved. I wanted to get to the bottom of it. And Picard goes, wise choice. And he goes, have you talked to Kennelly about it? She goes, no, sir. I don't even know who I can trust anymore. But that bartender of yours has a way of getting to you, She said you were her friend. He goes, well, we have that in common, Ensign Ro. Picard goes, do you think Orta would cooperate with us to determine the truth? And Ro says, yeah, I think so. And Picard goes, okay, good. Our orders were to find him and send him, go back to the camps with him. So that's exactly what we'll do. Ro says, and then what? Picard goes, we'll watch what happens. And they go back and forth. And we see the Enterprise Captain's Log supplemental. Something's going on. Conspiracy, Picard says. But I'm hopeful we'll get to the bottom of it in the next few hours. Then he has a FaceTime with Kennelly. Great job. Ensign Ro is invaluable. What's the next step? We'll escort the Bajorans to Valo 3 with Orta and his people on board. And Kennelly says, great. And Picard goes, how's your cold, buddy? He goes, a lot better. Thank you, Jean-Luc. I'm pleased. We'll report back. Picard out. And they say, Ensign Ro, you fly the ship to the coordinates. Data, keep an eye on the Cardassian border. They head out. Bajoran vessels moving up from the surface. I mean, there's a cut for a little time. There's a lower shot. On screen, we got the Bajoran vessel. Hailed them. They don't have FaceTime, only audio. Okay, no worries. This is Captain Picard. We'll escort you to Valo 3. Okay. We can only go half impulse, so no worries. Okay, head to Valo 3, half impulse. So they start going. And it's a smaller ship, purple jets. And this data says there's something going on with Cardassian space. 2 ships on the border. 152.051. Can you identify the class of ships, Worf? Yeah, those are Galler class type 3. Top of the line. Yeah, they're coming parallel to our own. Okay, yellow alert. Let's keep an eye on it. Ro, how close are we going to get to that border? 13,400 kilometers, ETA, 8 minutes. So that's where it's going to go down. So we have another little cut scene of the ships. Then they're getting, okay, Cardassian ships are changing course. They're crossing the border. Okay, they're powering up. Okay, red alert. Ensign Ro, intercept course. Call the Bajoran vessel. They call Bajorans, hey, there's 2 Cardassian warships. Stay on your current course. Okay, acknowledged. Cardassians are in visual range. Put them on screen. And they're hailing us. Open a channel. Worf. Hey, what's up? This is Jean-Luc Picard. Who's this? How can we help you? This is Gold Delac, Militia 4-1. We're here. Hey, great. Love working with you, Gold Delac. Love the Cardassian neighbors. So do we, by the way. This is totally what we're supposed to say. Mutual goodwill and all that. Chop, chop. Guy says, what's on your mind? Oh, there's a Bajoran ship. It's a troublemaker. Guy goes, troublemaker? Oh, we're certain of it. We know the markings well of that ship. And Picard goes, well, we're watching them. So these are Bajoran settlers headed to Valo 3. You can watch us if you wish. And they say, no, you need to withdraw and leave this matter to us. Picard goes, this is neutral space, dude. No jurisdiction. And they say, nor do you. Picard goes, well, if we withdraw, what are you going to do? And he goes, we're going to, what do you think we're going to do? WAR, what's it good for? Absolutely something to us. Picard goes, no, this is a promise. We're escorting them. And they go, yeah, but these are people we don't get along with. Even Worf's glaring. Picard says, we cannot withdraw. And they say, any steps necessary? Picard goes, what do you mean, any steps? And he goes, this is a complaint from your Cardassian neighbors. You have 1 hour to withdraw. Outs? And Picard goes, call Starfleet and route it to my ready room. Can't call Kennelly. So we have a standoff of all the ships. And Picard goes, yeah, they knew our course, Admiral. So strange. Our plan, everything. And he goes, oh, yeah, they monitor everything. They got taps and stuff. He goes, but they picked up Orta ship too? And he goes, listen, Picard, what's important is to protect the Cardassian treaty. And he goes, I don't see any way to protect the treaty without leaving the Bajorans on their own. He goes, great idea, Picard. And Picard goes, no, that's not my idea. We're escorting them. He goes, you got to look at the big picture, Jean-Luc. We got this Cardassian treaty is number one. And Picard goes, I see a different big picture. It looks like this. You caught a cold at a meeting with the Cardassians, and you were talking about Solaran 4. Oh, we got a common, someone, can label them. And if the Cardassians can't find them, maybe you can. I'm beginning to see that our mission has been, in fact, to find Orta for the Cardassians, not to help anybody. And Kennelly goes, you've lost your perspective, dude. And we'll discuss this further when you return. But now, direct order to withdraw. And the dude's in his, he's in a black uniform, Kennelly. I don't know if that's like his Admiral Action uniform. Picard goes back to the bridge. Everybody looks, and he goes, Ensign Ro, set a course 187.102, 1/4 impulse. And Riker says, we're going to withdraw, direct order. Picard pulls his shirt down and looks at him. That's all the S Riker needs. They head out, the Cardassians move in on the Bajoran ship, and they're moving towards the Bajoran vessel, hold present course. And they make the Bajoran vessel go bye-bye. And it's gone. Big farmed the vessel, which is probably like $1 billion ship. I mean, like lowest, They say, Kennelly's calling again, secure channel, ready room. Picard goes, no, main screen them. This is the oldest trick in the book. And he goes, what's your report? And Picard goes, Cardassians took out the Bajoran ship. Kennelly goes, oh, too bad. Everybody gone? No. Picard goes, no one was on board. Kennelly goes, what do you mean no one was on board? Ship was remote controlled. Subspace relay. He goes, whose idea was this? Picard, yours? No, Ensign Ro's. I fully endorsed it, because I thought something was up. And then Kennelly goes off the rails. Why would you protect Bajorans? He goes, I'm concerned with protecting the honor of Starfleet. Picard says that. Kennelly goes, what about Solaran 4? Or Kennelly says that, and Picard goes, they didn't even have the technology to do anything to Solaran 4. Their ships are old and obsolete, man. Like, where's your reality, Kennelly? Couldn't even have done it if they wanted to. And they go, well, who's responsible? And he goes, why don't you ask the Cardassians, Admiral? It's the only explanation I can think of. It's a staged thing. Kennelly goes, oh, boy. The Cardassians? Why would they do it? They've tried to find somebody in Starfleet like you, Admiral, that would solve their Bajoran problem for them. Someone with just the right naivete. And Kennelly looks kind of glaring. Enterprise crosses our screen. We're back at one of the Valor places, Ro and Picard talking about Kennelly will be in trouble. And Ro says, if he's on Jaros 4, make sure you tell him to get a room in the East Wing. The West Wing gets hot. Well, we'll drop you off in a few weeks. We got to do some surveys in Sector 21305 first. And Ro says, I could get another ship back or something. He goes, do you wish to be relieved of further duty? He goes, I think you should remain in Starfleet. She goes, you got to be kidding me. He goes, it would be a shame for Starfleet to lose someone with your potential. She goes, thank you. This is the second redemption episode, kind of. This uniform doesn't fit, and you know it. Kirk goes, well, that can change. And she goes, nah. Past people doing laundry. And Picard goes, I noticed qualities that if you harnessed and molded that you have. And she goes, don't count on it. And he goes, also, you got a great deal to learn from Starfleet. And yeah, Starfleet's got she goes, from me, they can learn from me. He goes, that's a common attitude I've found with the best officers. You're not there yet, but you could work at it. It's an interesting challenge. And Ro says, and I rarely refuse a challenge. One condition, though. And Picard goes, what's that? And she says, that I can wear my traditional earring. She doesn't say it. She puts it on and Picard smiles. And then he calls Enterprise to beam up. They could be like a Enterprise After Dark, to beam up. And with that, the episode comes to a close. And another meeting out there in subspace. Good night, everybody. All right, I want to thank some people that recently became patrons: Kevin, Ann, Jarita, Tyler, Jennifer, Krista. Thank you, thanks. And good night, Katie, Ted, and Janae. Thank you, thanks, and good night, Anna, Drew, and Rachel. Thank you, thanks, and good night, Locke, Morgan, and Paul. Thank you, thanks, and good night, Trent, Bella, and Kimberly. Thank you, thanks, and good night, Shannon, Esther, and Lau. Thank you, thanks, and good night, Carol, Lou, and Scott. Thank you, thanks, and good night, Ella, Amelia, and Sarah. Thank you, thanks, and good night, Nicole and Vivian. Thank you, thanks, and good night, and Antoinette and Eco. Thank you, thanks, and good night. Thanks, everybody, for supporting the show directly on Patreon or supporting our sponsors or subscribing somewhere else. That's how we come out free twice a week. And we grow as a podcast by people spreading the word about the show or just podcasting in general. I couldn't do it without all of you. Thanks so much, and good night.